All right, you guys, it is 2 o'clock on Monday and we are live. So welcome to yoga. Today's flow is a request all the way from Sydney, Australia. My sister asked if we could do a core-centered flow, which I love because everything you do comes from that core strength. That's going to be your main support system that keeps your practice safe. So I'm about it. We're going to do it. It's going to be a fun and a challenging flow. So as always, if you need to take a break, take a break. If any modifications, I'll give some, but you are not obligated to have your practice look exactly like my practice, or if you've got somebody in your house with you, it doesn't need to look exactly like theirs either. It's unique to you. So that's it. That's enough preamble, I think. Let's get ready to work the core, and we'll get started. All right. So we are going to get started today in a child's pose. You can bring your knees together or your knees apart. It's totally up to you. Let your hips settle down onto your heels. Reach your arms forward and allow your head to rest on the mat. And this first moment of practice is less about having your body in a specific shape and more about just giving yourself a second to settle in and start to shift your attention to your breath. So as you settle in, take a nice big inhale through your nose. And exhale, open your mouth, let it go. And again, nice big inhale through your nose. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. And one more time, biggest inhale of the day so far, filling yourself up completely full. And exhale, open your mouth, let it go. And start to find that steady, even breath in and out through your nose. Reach your arms forward with just a little bit more vigor. Press down through your palms and shift yourself forward onto all fours. So your shoulders are going to stack nicely right up over your wrists. Your hips are going to be stacked right up over your knees. We're going to take just a couple rounds of cat-cow to warm up the spine. So as you inhale, lengthen the chest forward, send the gaze up. And then exhale, press and round through your spine, drop the crown of your head. And again, inhale, lengthen the chest forward, send the gaze up. Exhale, press and round through your spine, drop crown of head. And one more time, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, press and round. And then you're going to inhale, come to a flat back. Lift your low belly so that it engages just a little bit. Walk your hands a little bit forward so that your wrists are in front of your shoulders. And then you're going to step your right foot all the way back to the back of the mat, which is going to shift your shoulders up over your wrists. And then step the left foot back to meet it, and you come into a plank pose, top of a push-up. So can you press through all 10 fingers of your hands, activate through your arms to support you. Hug your outer ankles in. And press the heels back so that you start to activate the legs. Keep that nice lift of your low belly. And see if you can recommit to that steady, even, smooth breath here. And then without letting your hips go all cattywampus, you're going to inhale, lower your right knee until it hovers just an inch above the floor. And then exhale, extend that right leg back. And then inhale, bend the left knee. So you're really isolating the knee. Exhale, extend back to the plank. Engaging through your low belly, keeping your hips stable. Again, Inhale, right knee bends. Exhale, lift. One more time, inhale, left knee. Exhale, lift. Take a big inhale, lift your chest forward. And then exhale, press it back to your first downward facing dog of the day. You might find that you want to pedal out the feet just a little bit, right? If you feel a little sticky, or if the backs of the legs feel a little bit on the tighter side. You may find on some days you don't need to pedal out the feet, right? So you start to find out what's habitual and what's really connected to what you need today. As you're ready, come to stillness in your downward facing dog. Take a huge inhale through your nose. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Bend your knees, shift your hips way back, send your gaze forward past your hands, and then exhale, step or walk your way all the way up to the top of the mat. So you're in that nice forward fold of Uttanasana. Your knees can be bent a little bit or a lot. Fingertips can come alongside your toes, or you can bring your hands to your shins. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward, come to a flat back. Exhale, release over your legs. Press down through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up and overhead. And then exhale, draw hands to prayer at your heart. Close your eyes. Shifting until you feel all four corners of your feet rooting down into the ground. Those legs are still strong and activated. Outer hips are hugging in. Lengthen the crown of your head towards the ceiling. Soften the shoulders down the back. Take a nice big inhale here. And then exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Finding that strong, steady foundation of your Tadasana. And then we're going to warm the body up with a little Surya seed. Blink your eyes open. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. So it's going to be really nice and fluid for the next couple of minutes. Exhale, dive and fold forward over your legs, coming into Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward, come to that flat back. Shift the weight into your right foot. Step your left foot all the way back to the back of the mat. Lower that back knee down to the ground so your right knee stacks right up over the ankle. Untuck the toe. Inhale, just a single breath. Lift the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, release the hands down to the ground. Tuck your back toe. Lift your back knee. Press the palms down into the mat and then squeeze that right knee up into the nose. So you've got this knee to nose position, again, activating through your low belly. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back behind you, coming into a three-legged dog. You can open up through your hip here, bend your knee, circle your ankle, find that nice little release through the hip flexor. Straighten that leg all the way back behind you, re-square off your hips. Set your right foot down next to your left. Inhale, glide forward into that nice plank pose. And then you can bring your knees down to the ground for a little bit of support, or you can leave them lifted. You're going to exhale, bend the elbows straight back and lower yourself all the way down to the floor. Untuck your toes, walk your hands back just a little bit. Push down through the palms and inhale, peel the chest forward, coming into that nice little baby cobra. Exhale, release the chest back down to the ground. And we'll repeat. Press down through the palms, peel the chest forward and up. See if you can keep reaching your toe tips back to the back of the mat. Exhale, release. Press down through the palms, come up to all fours for this round. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back behind you, coming into your downward facing dog. So if that all fours to down dog feels really nice, go ahead and do that every time today. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back behind you. Exhale, draw the left knee up into the nose, rounding through the spine. So coming from back to front, lifting through that low belly, activating through your core. Step the left foot in between the two hands. Step the right foot all the way forward to meet the left foot. So you're back in that Uttanasana. Forward fold. Inhale, flat back. So fingertips next to toe tips or hands on shins, totally your call. Exhale, release over your legs. Press down through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, draw hands to prayer at your heart. Side two. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dive and fold forward over your legs. Inhale, lengthen, come to a flat back. Shift the weight into your left foot. Step your right foot all the way back to the back of the mat. Lower that back knee down to the ground so you've got that nice stack of left knee up over ankle. Untuck the toes. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, hands come down to the ground. Tuck your back toe, lift your back knee, squeeze the left knee up into the chest, rounding through your upper spine. Inhale, sweep that left leg up and back. Open up through your hip, bend your knees, circle your ankle. Find that nice release through that hip flexor. Extend that leg powerfully back behind you, square off the hips. Set your left foot down next to your right. Inhale, glide forward into your plank pose. And then this time, exhale, bend the elbows into chaturanga. Knees can be up or you can bring them down. You can lower yourself all the way down to the floor and repeat that little baby cobra. Or press down through the tops of the feet, hug the outer elbows in, and lift yourself all the way to an upward facing dog. So the cobra option or the up dog option are both available at any time. Exhale. Press it back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, float your right leg up and back behind you. Exhale, draw the right knee all the way up into the nose, around through that upper spine. Step the right foot in between. Step the left foot forward to meet the right foot. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, release over your legs. Press down through your feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, draw hands to prayer at your heart. And then a couple rounds of traditional Surya A, just to finish warming up. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step it back to that plank pose, top of a push-up. Shift forward just a bit, bend your elbows straight back, chaturanga, and then little baby cobra, or roll over the tops of the feet, lift the chest. Exhale, press it back, downward facing dog. This time pause for 5 breaths. So as you're here in the pause, you've got a lot of length happening in the backs of your legs, and a lot of lift through the backs of your arms. Can you also lift your low belly towards your spine so that part of you stays active the whole time? 2 more long, smooth breaths here. And then bend your knees, shift your hips back, send your gaze forward past your hands. Exhale, step or float your way up to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. Press down through your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, draw hands to prayer at your heart. 1 more just like that. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. And this time you can exhale, step it back to a plank, or you can jump it to chaturanga, right? You can always skip the chaturanga and the up dog portion. Inhaling. Exhaling, pressing it back to your dog. So again, if you want to skip vinyasas, right, chaturanga to up dog, you can always step to a plank and press it straight back to a dog from there. Inhale, glide forward into your plank pose, top of a push-up. So your shoulders are nice and stacked. You're going to pick up your right foot and just let it hover an inch above the floor. Hug your left hip in towards the midline of your body. And this may be enough here, or if you're feeling particularly sassy today, you can come up to your left fingertips. Notice how the hips want to lift up. Right? Do your best to keep the shoulders nice and stacked, the hips nice and even. And if you're feeling very sassy today, maybe you want to reach that left arm forward and play with that cross diagonal balance. You may or may not fall out of it, right? The results aren't nearly as important as just moving in a direction and giving it a shot. 2 more breaths here, wherever you are. And then exhale, if that left hand is lifted, set it down. Reach the right leg all the way up and back behind you, coming into that 3-legged dog one more time. And then exhale, draw the knee all the way up into the nose. This time, step the right foot in between the 2 hands. Stay high on the ball of your back foot. You can walk your fingertips back just a little bit and lengthen the crown of your head forward. Hug your right hip in so you're in this nice, strong runner's lunge. And then as you're ready, your fingertips get nice and light. They lift up alongside you. And then on your next inhale, float the arms up and overhead, lift the torso, coming into your crescent pose. So first balance of the day, lifting your 2 frontal hip points, drawing your ribs in towards each other, lengthening your spine. So all that core strengthening, all that abdominal work really serves to support you in these longer standing holds, right? Especially when you're balancing. So drawing hands to prayer at your heart, take a nice big inhale here. Exhale, tip your chest forward. Hug that right hip in and lift your low belly, and then float yourself up into warrior 3. Not a super long hold, but another opportunity to kind of test and play with that balance. Reaching the left heel with vigor towards the back of the mat, the crown of your head forward towards the front of the room. Take 1 more breath here. Reach through your left heel, bend through your right knee, and step it all the way back into warrior 1. So your back heel spins down to the ground, you line it up heel to heel, reach the arms up nice and high. Sink the hips nice and low. Can you come back to that steady, smooth breath as you're here for 1 more inhale? 1 more exhale. And then circle the hands all the way down to the ground. Spin onto the ball of your back foot, step it back to your plank, and then this is one of those times you could take it through a vinyasa, or you can press it straight back to a downward facing dog. Pause for just a moment. Feel all 10 fingers rooting down into the floor. And then inhale, glide forward into a plank pose, top of a push-up. So your shoulders stack directly up over your wrists. Your hips are in line with your shoulders, right? It's a nice, strong, supported plank. Hug your right hip in, lift your left foot and let it hover just an inch above the floor. So not only are you activating your low belly towards your spine, you're also activating through that right leg to support you. Maybe you come up to your right fingertips if that feels like a fun option. Fun maybe is a relative term right now. And then maybe reach that right arm forward if you want to play with that cross diagonal balance. Doing your best to continue to keep your left shoulder stacked up over the wrist. 1 more inhale here. And then exhale, set that right hand down if it's lifted. Inhale, lift that left leg up and back behind you. Feel that kind of sweet relief of the three-legged downward facing dog. Exhale, draw the left knee all the way up into the nose, around through the spine. Step that left foot in between the two hands. Stay high up on your fingertips. Hug your left hip in. Reach the crown of your head forward and give yourself a second here in this high runner's lunge, right, to really settle and strengthen the foundation of your legs. Low belly lifts towards the spine. And because your legs are solid, because your low belly is engaged, your fingertips become light, your arms become obsolete, and you can float them back alongside you. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, and you find yourself again in crescent balance. And if this balance feels like super duper wobbly, you may find that heel toeing your left foot to the left a little bit gives you a little bit of a wider base and a little bit more stability. And then that tailbone drops towards the ground, the two frontal hip points lift, your ribs knit together so your belly is engaged the whole time. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, draw the hands to prayer at your heart. Find that strong Tadasana in your front foot so all four corners are rooted. Tip your chest forward and float yourself up into the balance. Warrior three. So your hip joint is working a lot to support you here. So the more you lift and engage through your belly, the more you can aid that hip in supporting your torso. Reach the right heel with a lot of vigor. Reach the crown of the head forward with equal vigor. Last big inhale here. You're as long as you can possibly be. So bend through that left knee. Reach the right foot way back towards the back of the mat. And up you come into warrior one. So the back heel spins to the ground. You're lined up heel to heel. Arms are reaching. The gaze is steady. And can you draw your attention back to your breath and find that long, smooth inhale matched with a long, smooth exhale. Circle the hands back to the ground. Spin onto the ball of your back foot. Step it back maybe through vinyasa or maybe straight to a downward facing dog. Always your choice. When you make it back to that dog, take a huge inhale through your nose. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Bend your knees, shift your hips back, send your gaze forward, exhale, step or float your way up. Inhale, lengthen the chest. Exhale, release over your legs. Bend your knees nice and low, Utkatasana, chair pose. And then come on up to standing, draw hands to prayer at your heart. Close your eyes. And just give yourself a second to reestablish stability in Tadasana. Always coming back to that grounded, steady foundation. And then on your next inhale, blink your eyes open, sit the hips back and down into that nice low Utkatasana. We're just going to flow it out through one round of Surya B. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, plant your hands, step or float your way back through a vinyasa or skip the vinyasa altogether and come straight to a dog. From that dog, right foot steps forward, back heel spins. Just a single breath in warrior one. Exhale, hands come down to the ground. Step it back and take it through a vinyasa or go straight to a dog. Left foot steps forward, back heel spins. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands come down. Step it back and take it through. And then separate your feet just a little bit wider than hips distance. Walk your hands all the way back to the feet. So you're in a nice long forward fold at the back of your mat. You've got a few options here. You can grab opposite elbows here if that's nice. If you're feeling a good amount of tension in the back of your neck, sometimes it's nice to interlace the hands back behind the head and just give the back of the neck a gentle touch to remind it that it can let go, it's okay. So either one of those two options. It's giving yourself 2 more breaths here. If you've crossed the elbows, go ahead and switch so that the weird elbow is on top. And then wherever the hands are, go ahead and release them. Heel toe the feet all the way back together. Walk yourself all the way out into a plank pose, top of a push-up. And then you're going to lower your right elbow all the way down to the ground. Lower your left elbow all the way to the ground, forearm plank. Right? Shoulders, hips and shoulders in line with each other. You're going to put the weight into that right elbow, roll onto the outer edge, and reach your left arm first up towards the ceiling. Little forearm plank, Vashisthasana. Or forearm Vashisthasana. If this is too much, take your left foot, bend the knee, and place it on the ground. So you give yourself a little modification. Then you're going to bring your left hand to your left hip. So if you're in the modified version, you're right here. If you're in the other version, you're right here. You're going to inhale, lower your right hip until just before it touches the floor. And then exhale, lift. Just 5 on each side. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. And if you're in the modified version, same thing. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Just 2 more. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Last time. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Re-extend that left arm up towards the ceiling. If you're in the modified version, step that left foot back. Come all the way down onto your forearms. And right away, roll over onto the outside of your left foot. Open your right arm towards the ceiling. So you're in that nice, wide, long forearm Vashisthasana. Taking the modification if you want it, bring your right hand to your right hip. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. So you can really feel that side waist getting activated. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lower the hips. Exhale, lift. 2 more. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Last time. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Unfurl that right arm towards the ceiling. Bring that right elbow to meet the left. 5 breaths in your forearm plank. So this is where the rubber really starts to meet the road. Can you keep the breath smooth and steady? Can you drive the shoulders down your back? Lift through that low belly. Hug your outer hips in. So even though this is really operating in your core, your whole body is supporting you. 2 more breaths here. And then lower your knees to the ground. Walk your hands back just a bit. Tuck your toes. And lift your hips up and back behind you, coming into that downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that right leg up and back behind you. Exhale, draw the knee up to the nose, step the foot up in between the 2 hands, spin the back heel down to the ground. Inhale, rise up into your warrior 1. And then exhale, open it up into warrior 2, adjusting your feet as you need so that you're still lined up heel to heel, or maybe you're heel to arch. The gaze is steady over your right fingertips. Soften your shoulders. And then just be here for several breaths in Viratu. So you might find you want to close your eyes, especially if you're feeling kind of fidgety. Noticing the quality of your breath. Allowing yourself to find comfort in the discomfort. Then on your next inhale, flip your front palm. Reverse your warrior. Reach that arm all the way up and back behind you. Press the front leg to straight, just to give that hamstring a little bit of a release. Lift yourself all the way back upright. Bend through that right knee one more time, and then exhale. Your right hand is going to come either down to the inside of your front foot for Parsvakonasana, or maybe the elbow comes to the top of the thigh bone if that hand to the floor feels like it's a little too far. If you happen to have a prop, like a block or a book, you can place that prop in front of your right ankle and reach the left arm up. And then when you're settled in that Parsvakonasana, that extended side angle, flip your top palm and take it into either the small of your back or to your hip crease, right? So finding a little half bind here. Rolling your chest open towards the ceiling, rooting down through your feet. Some of you might find that it's really nice to take it into a full bind, but if you find that collapse is the whole package, the bind is not as important as lengthening through the crown of the head, finding length in the spine, activating through the outer hips to support you. Last big inhale here. And then unfurl that left arm towards the ceiling. Bring the left hand down to the ground. Spin onto the ball of your back foot, and again, vinyasa, or maybe you go straight to your dog. And then inhale, left leg floats up and back behind you. Exhale, draw the left knee up to the nose. Step the foot through, spin the back heel down. Inhale, rise up, warrior one. Exhale, open it up, warrior two. Nice, steady gaze over your left fingertips. As you settle into that warrior two on side two, it may feel similar or different to side one. So adjust as you need so you feel supported. So your feet are rooted, the inner thighs are drawing in, your outer hips are hugged in, so that you got a nice support through your low spine. But at a certain point, the fidgeting stops, and you just let yourself observe. Eyes open or closed. Breath long and smooth. And on your next inhale, flip that front palm, reverse your warrior. Press your front leg to straight so you give yourself just a little relief. Come all the way upright. Rebend through that left knee. And then it's a hinge at the hips, and either the left elbow comes to the top of the right thigh bone, or if you can keep the left side waist really nice and long, the left hand can come down on the inside of your left foot, or to your block or book, whatever prop you have. And then when you feel yourself really nice and supported and settled into that Parsvakonasana, the extended side angle, flip your top palm. The hand either comes to the small of your back, just depending on how kind of open your shoulders are or how long your arms are. And then roll the chest open towards the ceiling. The gaze can be up, or if that's too much on your neck, it could be down at your left foot. Doesn't matter so much where the gaze is, just as long as it's on purpose. And then maybe you take it into a full bind, right? If you can maintain the alignment, and that would be a nice complete expression of the pose. Or maybe you keep it in that half bound. Last breath here. And then unfurl that right arm towards the ceiling. Exhale, the right hand comes down to the ground, spin onto the ball of your back foot. You either take it through a vinyasa or you go straight to your dog. When you come back to your dog, bend your knees, shift your hips back, send your gaze forward. Exhale, step 4, float your way up. Inhale, lengthen your chest forward. Exhale, release over your legs. Bend your knees nice and low. Utkatasana, chair pose. And then you're going to sit just a little deeper and just a little deeper until you come all the way down to the ground and lift your feet up. It would not be a core-centered class without a good chunk of Navasana. Right? If lifting your feet creates a total collapse and it's way too much, you can leave your feet on the floor and lift your chest up. Everything that we're going to do from this point forward, you can also lift one leg and then set it down and lift the other and set it down. And then as you get stronger, both feet lift. And then you'll notice once you are able to lift the feet without creating this turtle shell in your low back, you can continue to lift your chest up. That's going to be a good sign that you're supported in your Navasana. Then you're going to inhale, lower, Ardha Navasana. This can also be done with the feet on the floor. And then exhale, lift it right back up. Some of you may find you can even extend the legs. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. And then this time, inhale, lower it all the way down. Draw the knees into the chest. You can release the head down onto the floor. If you want to give yourself a little rock from side to side, you can. Not quite done yet. Extend both feet up towards the ceiling. Inhale, interlace the hands back behind your head and lift your chest up. Right, so you're not drawing the elbows together or pulling the neck forward. The elbows are open and you're looking directly up at the ceiling. You're going to lower your right leg until it hovers just an inch above the floor. And we're going to take 5 breaths here, just holding it. And if that's a little too much, again, the right foot steps down into the ground. Belly button draws down. The top of your left thigh bone reaches forward. 2 more breaths here. And then unwind your hands. Interlace everything but the thumb and forefinger and lift your chest towards your lifted leg. So you're taking a little twist. Again, that right foot can step down. You're going to inhale, lower the left leg until it hovers. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. If you're taking the other version, that right leg hovers as you inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. 2 more. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Last time, inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Unwind the twist, reinterlace the hands back behind the head, lift the right leg. Give yourself a moment here. It's like a wee pause. Draw your belly button towards your spine. And then lower your left leg to hover. So the more you flex your feet and activate through the legs, the more your whole body helps support your abdominal wall here. So core centered doesn't mean core only, right? You're still working everything all at once. If you want to bend that left knee to give yourself a little bit more support, you can keep activated in the belly. And then one more breath here. Unwind the hands, interlace everything but the thumb and forefinger. Lift your chest up and over towards that lifted right leg, and then inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Foot planted or leg extended. It's up to you. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last 2. Inhale. Exhale. Last 1. Inhale. Exhale. Unwind. Lift that left leg up to meet the right. Bend the knees up into your chest. Rock yourself all the way forward and up into your Uttanasana. And then you've got 2 options here. You might just step it back and take it through a vinyasa, or you might find that your belly's nice and warm. So that means you can tack the knees on the backs of the triceps. Shift the chest forward, hug the elbows in. Belly button comes towards your spine, and you lift up into Bakasana. That's an option, not a requirement. If you're not taking it, just give yourself a little forward fold and then step it back to a plank and take it to a dog. Or if you're in that Bakasana, maybe you step it back into your plank pose, or maybe you jump it back to your chaturanga. Roll over the tops of your feet. This up dog is probably going to feel pretty good. And then exhale, press it back to your dog. Last little thing here, just to take all that work into context. Inhale, reach your right leg up and back behind you. Exhale, draw the knee all the way up to the nose. We're coming to the top of the mountain. Step the foot in between your 2 hands. Inhale, rise up into that crescent pose from the very beginning of class. This time, circle the hands back behind you, interlace your fingertips. Lift the chest towards the ceiling, which again might feel nice after all that abdominal work. And then exhale, tip yourself all the way forward. Press down through that right foot, come back into that balance of warrior 3. And because your belly, your core is operating so strongly, maybe you tip yourself forward, leaving your arms lifted up and back behind you, coming into standing split. If that's too much, of course, hands come down to the floor to support you. You can hug your right hand around your right ankle, your left hand around your left ankle, so you play with your balance after all that effort supporting your core. Or maybe you plant your hands, shift yourself forward, and you start to take a couple of hops towards a handstand, right? So it's shoulders over wrists, and a little bit of lift. Now, a little caveat here as you're practicing at home, be mindful of your surroundings, right? Don't kick your leg through a window or accidentally attack your dog or anything like that, right? So when you handstand in a confined space, you do so with a sense of wisdom. Wherever you are, last breath here. And then exhale, release the hands, bend through your right knee, step that left foot way back towards the back of the mat. Heel toe the right foot to the right a little bit. Lower your back knee down to the ground. Taking a little lizard pose for a second. So everything you just did kind of gets the blood pumping, gets the adrenaline going. So use this lizard as a chance to kind of re-release things. You'll notice if you can see, the knee continues to be stacked right up over the ankle. So adjust as you need. And if you're in a kind of bend your body, you may find that the elbows can come down to the ground and you can keep the spine long. Or you may find if you have a prop, you can bring the elbows down to a prop. Just 2 more breaths here. And then if you've come down to your elbows, walk your hands back up, tuck your back toe, lift your back knee, take it through a vinyasa, or maybe you step it straight to your dog. Last side here, inhale, lift. 3-legged dog, exhale, draw the left knee all the way up to the nose. Step the foot through, stay high on the ball of your back foot. Inhale, rise up to that crescent. So we sort of wound things down for a moment on side 1, and now you gotta ramp it back up. Circle the hands back behind you. Interlace the other thumb on top, lift the chest towards the ceiling. And then exhale, tip forward over your front leg. Root down through your left foot. Float yourself up into that warrior three. And then maybe hands come down for support, or maybe they stay lifted behind you. Tip your chest forward. Reach your right leg up, standing split. And then as you're ready, everybody's hands will come down to the ground. And either you'll hold the ankle with one or both hands, right? Or you'll adjust yourself on your mat. Plant your hands about 6 inches in front of your shoulders, then shift yourself forward and start to take a couple of hops towards a handstand. Options, not requirements. 2 more breaths in your balance. And then on your next inhale, bend through your left knee, reach your right leg back. Lower your back knee all the way down to the ground. Heel toe your left foot to the left a little bit. Bring your left hand on the inside of your left foot. And just give yourself 5 breaths. Whatever variation you took on side 1, you'll repeat on side 2. And so that means coming down to your elbows or your block. Take one last breath here. And then exhale, left hand comes onto the outside of your left foot. Tuck your back toe. Take it through one final vinyasa or step it straight back to your dog. Take a huge inhale through your nose. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. One more time, glide forward into that plank pose. And then exhale, bend the elbows straight back. Lower yourself all the way down. Slide the elbows forward and lift the chest, coming into your sphinx. So it's like we're moving into kind of the dessert phase of things. Right? So you can wiggle your hips out. Start to re-elongate through your abdominal wall. So coming down the mountain is just as vital as going up. So resist the urge to just kind of check out now that it's not going to be quite so physically challenging. Stay connected all the way to the end. Exhale, release. One last little bit of challenging, like a challenging posture. Right? Bend through both of your knees. We're going to take Dhanurasana, just one nice long round. Reach the hands back. Interlace or wrap the hands around the fronts of your ankle bones. Kick the shins back. Lift the chest forward. Nice big back bend here. One more inhale. And then exhale, release. You can release through the feet. Turn your cheek to one side. Wiggle out through your hips. You know, just because that was so nice and you've been doing so much abdominal work, we're going to repeat it one more time. So draw the feet together. Bring the forehead down to the ground. Bend through your knees. Reach the hands back. Lift the chest. Kick the shins back and lengthen. And if that first round just didn't feel good and it was too much, you can extend the legs long. You can interlace your hands back behind you and take Shalabhasana, right? So there's always options. Last breath here. And then exhale, release. Turn your cheek to the other side. Wiggle your hips. And then bring your forehead to the mat. Bring the arms forward, lift yourself right back up into that Sphinx pose. Right, so the hips should feel pretty gushy kind of here, not a lot of tension. You're going to bend through your left knee and slide that left knee up towards your left shoulder. So just giving yourself a little rotation through the hip. And then you're going to take your right hand. You're just going to slide it underneath that left elbow and hold the side of your knee. Let the right shoulder and the head release down to the floor. And if you're like, that was a lot that we just did, and you'd like to stay kind of in this modified fetal position, you can just rest your hand on the top of your, rest your head on the top of your hand. Or you can start to open your left shoulder up towards the ceiling, any amount. Taking an easy twist here. The knee might lift up off of the ground. That left shoulder relaxes into the floor. The breath is long and smooth, wherever you are, whether it's in that sort of modified fetal position or it's in the open twist. Last breath here. And then exhale. If you open the shoulder, come back to center. Keep the left knee where it is and come back into that little Sphinx pose. And then extend that left leg nice and long. And draw the right knee up towards the right shoulder. So it's a big rotation in the hip. Take your left hand and slide it underneath or back behind that right arm. Take the left hand on the top of the right knee, and maybe you just settle into that little fetal position for a second, or it's like a modified fetal position. Or maybe you start to open up the right shoulder towards the ceiling, coming into that twist. One last breath here. And then exhale, unwind. Keep that right knee up towards that right shoulder for a second. Extend that right leg all the way back behind you. And then you're going to shift back into a child's pose. Right? So you lift through your hips and walk the hands back. Just give your spine a chance to move in the opposite direction that it's been. Noticing the qualities of this child's pose. How you might feel a little differently than you did when you began. And then roll yourself all the way up to seated. Shift the hips off to one side and extend the legs forward. Coming into Dandasana, sitting up nice and tall here. If the backs of your legs feel really tight and you have a blanket, you can slide it underneath you just to give yourself a little more height. That's a really nice option. Or bar in that, if you need to bend your knees a little bit, do it. Bend through your right knee. You're going to take it into a little tree pose here. Right, so I'll turn so you can see me, but you can stay facing the direction you are. Right, so you make this little figure 4. Going to inhale, reach the arms way up towards the ceiling. Rotate towards the front leg. And then exhale, release forward over that front leg. If you're in a bit of a tighter body, right, the backs of your legs are really tight, you may find it's actually more delightful to bring the hands behind you and just lift the chest up towards the ceiling. So you'll let delight be the metric of success here. Right? So the more lovely this feels in your body, the more you're connecting. 3 more steady breaths here. Inhale, roll yourself up to seated. Extend your right leg forward, sit up nice and tall in Dandasana. Draw the left knee up into that tree pose. Reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Tip your chest forward and fold, or bring the hands behind you and lift the chest towards the ceiling. Just allowing your exhales to be a little longer than your inhales here. Allow that sense of letting go to really start to bubble up to the surface. And then inhale, walk the hands back up to seated. Bring the soles of your feet together, Baddha Konasana. It's the bound angle pose. You can let your hands hug the ankles, lift your chest towards the ceiling, and that may be enough, especially if your body feels a little bit tighter. Exhale, release forward. Maybe the elbows come all the way down to the ground, right again. Delightful is the name of the game at this point. Let your attention come back to your breath. Inhale, roll yourself up to seated. Extend the legs forward. Reach the arms up one more time. Over 2 straight legs, fold forward, or again, hands can come back behind you and you lift your chest towards the ceiling. You're just resetting your body, right? You really moved it around, you really worked it. So this is how you settle yourself back into a new neutral. Inhale, roll yourself up. And then exhale, 1 vertebra at a time. Roll yourself all the way down onto the ground. Just let your feet flop open, let your palms flop open, let your eyes gently close. And if you need to fidget a little bit until you feel totally supported by the mat, by all means do so. And then this is where it really comes together. Just giving yourself a moment or two to rest and allow all the work you've done to process. So take 1 more big inhale through your nose. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. And for just a few minutes, or moments rather, allow yourself to let go of all effort and control and rest. And you are welcome to stay in this Shavasana for as long as you'd like. And then as you're ready, you just begin to wiggle through your fingers and your toes. Stretch the arms up and overhead. And then as you're ready, bend your knees. And then any way you'd like, make your way up to a seated position. So you might roll to your right side or you might rock yourself forward and up. Keep your eyes closed. Find a comfortable cross-legged position, letting your hands rest on the tops of your knees. And allow yourself a moment to feel totally awake, settled, comfortable in your own skin. And then drawing hands to prayer at your heart. Bow your head towards your hands, finishing out your practice always with a little gesture of gratitude. Taking gratitude with you as you move off of your mat and into the rest of your day. Namaste. You did it. Nicely done. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and ask. If you have requests for other live classes, today came from Jill, tomorrow could come from you, or next week rather, could come from you. You can leave a request in the comments and I will build a flow around that. We do a live every Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. And then every week I post shorter form content so all of your yoga needs can be met. So if you enjoyed that, definitely like and subscribe so you can be notified when more stuff comes up on the channel. And have a lovely day. See you next time. Bye, guys.